Can you find lust in your genitals or anger in your fist? Does pain really come from your private parts? The answer to all of the above is no. Pain is like anger, love, and happiness. It's a conscious experience constructed by your brain and not your private parts. Let me explain. If you have pain right now, you're not alone. About 20% of humans have pain that's lasted longer than 3 months. And like most people who have persistent pain, it hurts because your brain thinks you need to be protected. Pain is formally defined as an unpleasant sensory and emotional experience associated with actual or potential tissue damage. We all experience pain. It's a normal part of life and nothing to be afraid of. In fact, pain is our protector, like many other systems that protect us. Our immune system, nervous, endocrine, motor, and cognitive systems. And all of these systems work together and influence each other when it comes to making us take action, like quickly getting out of the way to dodge an oncoming bus. Pain is necessary for our survival. It sounds like an oxymoron, I know. And because all these systems work together and influence each other, we have to understand all the other aspects that contribute to your pain experience, like the psychological and sociological aspects that we encounter on a moment-to-moment basis. It's like trying to understand a cake by just looking at the flour and eggs. The same goes for understanding pain. You need to look at the whole self, like your emotions, your beliefs, your diet, relationships, muscles, joints, who you see, where you go, what you've been told, and the list can go on. And just as chocolate cake and carrot cake have different ingredients, so does pain. But learning to switch the components around and utilizing their strengths is key when unlearning pelvic pain. Decades of research show that pain is produced 100% in our brain, meaning sometimes the pain we experience isn't always because of our tissues. And like I said earlier, the body's ability to produce pain and block pain are dependent on a lot of factors. For example, have you ever had a bruise and not know where it came from or how you got it? I know I have. In this case, you had actual tissue damage, but didn't experience any pain. If you can experience tissue injury without pain, you can also experience pain without tissue injury. Pain depends on context 100% of the time. So if you were out having a good time with your friends, chances are your brain was too preoccupied having fun instead of worrying about that table you just bumped into. If that isn't convincing enough, let me share my story with you. So when I was a kid, I remember playing basketball with my cousins, and it was an intense game, last moments of the game where every point counted. And my little brother thought it would be super funny to ride his bike around and be annoying. But what none of us knew is that his bike had a very sharp piece of metal sticking out from the sprocket. Lucky me, I was the one to find this out. The basketball rolled under his bike. I quickly did like a 1-2 to grab the ball and get right back into the game. I don't even know how much time had passed when somebody all of a sudden said, "Oh my God, your leg is bleeding." So naturally, I looked down at my lower leg and saw a whole bunch of blood and my muscle gushing out, and immediately I fell to the ground in agony. Interesting. Why didn't I notice this right away? Well, had I noticed it right away, it could have cost us the game, so my brain defaulted to carry on despite the fact that my leg was split open. So you see, your brain is the ultimate boss, and it's constantly processing information from trillions of cells across your entire brain. If there's ever a reason that your brain detects there's more danger than safety, voila, you might feel pain. But remember, there's a lot of protective mechanisms that your body can produce, and most of this happens outside of your conscious awareness. Our bodies have amazing abilities to learn, adapt, and change over time, and this can either work for us or against us. And persistent pelvic pain is definitely a learned experience that no one wants to live with forever. So, how can we start to unlearn pain? Well, let's start by shifting your experience from a negative adaptation to more of a positive one. So take, for example, a Kung Fu master in training who's been told that by rubbing his shins with a glass bottle, he'll be able to be a stronger and better kicker. He's got a solid reason to endure something so uncomfortable. In the beginning of his training, the sensors in his legs do send danger messages to the brain. But after repeatedly rubbing his shins, the messages get weaker and eventually stop at the spinal cord and don't even make it up to the brain. So these messages are not even relevant anymore. It holds no meaning, and thus the Kung Fu master feels no pain in his legs, making him a better and stronger kicker. This kind of positive adaptation can be applied to unlearning pain, and the same goes for pelvic pain. With the right approach and training, the messages coming from your private parts will eventually shrink, become more manageable, and eventually go away. Phew, that was a lot to digest and think about. So take your time to understand these concepts because it's going to be the foundation of your roadmap for recovery. The way you think about your pain will make all the difference in the world in how you feel. So in tomorrow's video, I'm going to share 5 things you can do to support your recovery. I can't wait to see you there.